You've scanned a pond full of coots, but nothing stands out. No bright red bills, nothing that looks different. Spotting a common gallinule can be tough because its red bill is small, sometimes dull, and easy to miss, especially when these secretive birds hide among the more common coots. Welcome. My name is Greg, and I've been watching birds for over 50 years. In this video, I'll guide you through the key features that set apart common gallinules from its lookalikes so you can confidently spot this elusive marsh bird on your next outing. Look at the bill for a quick and easy way to separate common gallinules from American coot, the most widespread of the similar species. If you see a blackish swimming water bird with a red bill, it's a gallinule. Here's the catch. Immature common gallinules and some adults outside the breeding season don't have that bright red bill. And to complicate things, there's another gallinule with a red bill found in the southeastern U.S. So next, we'll quickly rule out a couple of look-alike species that might cause confusion. Then we'll dive into the deeper ID tips that separate common gallinule from American coot, the species it's most often mistaken for. After that, we'll listen to their distinctive songs and calls. And finally, we'll explore where you're most likely to find these birds in your area. One unexpected similar species is the pied-billed grebe, a small, chunky water bird often found in the same marshy habitats. Unlike the common gallinule, the grebe has a short, thick, pale bill with a distinctive black band during the breeding season, and a compact body with a very short tail that makes it appear stubby. Pied-billed grebes are expert divers and spend much of their time underwater. They can barely walk on land. On the other hand, gallinules walk expertly on floating vegetation and rarely dive. Another similar species is the purple gallinule, found mainly in the southeastern U.S. Unlike the common gallinule, adult purple gallinules are a riot of color, shimmering purple, blue, and green with a pale blue shield above a red and yellow bill, and bright yellow legs with long toes, perfect for walking on floating plants. Their bill is similar, but their vivid colors make them unmistakable if you get a good look. Now, what if you can't get a good look at the bill? Then we need to look at other field marks. The most common confusion is with the American coot, a widespread marsh bird often seen side by side with gallinules, and they look quite similar at a distance. The American coot is a chunky, dark gray water bird with a darker head and a short, thick white bill, topped by a small white shield and a reddish spot near the top. One of the best ways to separate a common gallinule from a coot is to look for a bold white stripe running along the lower edge of the folded wing, right above the waterline. American coots lack this white side stripe, making it an easy field mark to spot whether the bird is swimming or walking. In addition, common gallinules have a longer tail with bright white undertail feathers that really stand out, especially when they flick their tails. American coots, on the other hand, have shorter tails, and while they do have some white under the tail, it's much less obvious. American coots are often found in large flocks, swimming out in the open on lakes or ponds. They're just as comfortable grazing on grassy lawns at the water's edge, and you'll often see them paddling across open water in groups. Common gallinules, on the other hand, are much more secretive. They prefer to stay tucked into dense reeds and aquatic vegetation, rarely venturing far from cover. If you spot a gallinule swimming, it's often weaving between the stalks of submerged reeds. Or if it's walking along the water's edge, it is slipping in and out of view as it forages between the stalks. Finally, one of the most reliable ways to identify a common gallinule is by its distinctive vocalizations. Their calls include clucks, nasal squawks, and whinnying calls. They call often while moving through the reeds. In contrast, the American coot gives a variety of grunts and croaking calls, lower and less musical than the gallinule. The common gallinule breeds broadly in the eastern United States during summer and is a year-round resident from California across the southern states to Florida and up the Atlantic coast to at least the Carolinas. In the northern part of its range, where water bodies freeze in winter, gallinules migrate south to ice-free areas and return to breed in spring. During the breeding season, these birds are territorial and usually found in pairs or family groups. In winter, they may gather in small groups with other marsh birds. While still widespread and plentiful, some populations have declined due to habitat loss. Do you remember the key marks of common gallinule? A dark bird with a bright red bill, a white stripe along the side, lots of white on the undertail, and usually found hiding in the reeds, and it makes sharp nasal calls. Next time, you'll spot those common gallinules.